lately there's been this commercial going around. I'm not sure exactly why, just right now, but maybe because Tesla has been in the news a lot lately. But there's a commercial going around that starts off with the Jetsons, which you should know that show from the 60s. It ran for a couple of years in the 60s. It kind of portrayed the future, or so, what people thought back then. And it talks about electric cars, which is something I'm just blown away how people are still on this. It talks about them, it says they're more affordable than ever, and then you look it up online, and what they cost is not much different from a regular car. The cheapest one on there is, I think it was $23,000, and holy crap, you gotta be rich in order to pay that off in one payment. But basically, if you want payments every month, that's the way to go. The pricing is not much. That's for the cheapest one. That sucks, by the way. I'm going to get into a bunch of reasons why you shouldn't fall for this crap, and it's going to be in the title too, probably, that this is a scam. But that's for the cheapest one. You know, they go $23, $25, $27, $30,000. So they're not really that affordable. But it says that in the commercial, and it says they're more fun to drive because they have instant acceleration because they're electric. So basically what you're telling me is floor it, pretty much. You're saying instead of slowly easing on my gas, floor it at every intersection. Go from 0 to 30 in 2 seconds just because. Just because it's electric? Okay, why not? Why not floor it? It's kind of fun, apparently. It's fun to drive. Let's floor it. I'm not sure if those... That would have a transmission, right? So maybe transmissions are going to be blowing out. They're going to be blowing out more frequently now. But anyway, so that's what it says. And then they're more affordable. And it says if you're driving a gas-powered car, you're living in the past. So basically trying to persuade people to switch over or something. It's ridiculous, like I'm going to talk about here. It's completely ridiculous. This is a scam. Don't fall for this. You're living in the past. Come on. And I'm going to go, what? Really? I said the first time I heard this? You think about this, people. And there was an episode of a show called Adam Ruins Everything. A show which I wasn't very fond of at the start, but it's growing on me because some of the stuff he says really does make sense. In that show, he did a segment on this where a guy was going to buy an electric car because he thought it'd be good for the planet. But then the host, Adam, went through all the ways it's not as good for the planet. It can even be worse. And he kind of changed his mind. You can probably go watch that. I might find a link for that and put it in the description if I remember. And first of all, like I said, the $23,000, the cheapest model from I saw from looking up online, the cheapest model out there can only go 58 miles before charging. That's it. I mean, it depends on where you live, of course. If you're in a highly populated area, there's a website online you can look up all the charging stations in the United States, and they seem more frequent. They seem almost like a catch. Like at any RV park you can charge that has electricity, which, you know, I'm sure you could, but most of them have fees. You can't just charge and do it for free. Some of them, a lot of them, majority, have fees you gotta pay. People say it's cheaper than gas. I'm gonna get into that too. Set a reminder for myself to do that. 58 miles, that's it. And it basically goes, the more expensive they get, the farther they can go. And then the most expensive, they get, well, around $30,000 you pay, you can get around 100 to 150. Or was it 118? Or 158 miles? That's as far as you can go without, and that was the most expensive one on the list I saw. 30,000 bucks, 158 miles. Really? On a full tank of gas in a van, depending on, you know, the model, of course, and stuff. You know, vans are more economical. On a full tank of gas in a van, you can go 300, 200, 300, 400 plus miles on a tank of gas in a van. That's gas powered. Yet in an electric car, the best you can get is 150. It just, come on. But anyway, next. That was point one right there. If people say, oh, they're so good. And like where I live, I'm in more of a rural setting. Maybe in Los Angeles or Philadelphia or Washington, D.C., you're not going to have problems charging. You're just going to have fees. But in the Midwest, in, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Arizona, in the deserts of Arizona, Rocky Mountain areas, Idaho, maybe even Oregon, all those states, Utah, all of them, it's so rural that the stations are so far apart, you can't, if you got that 58 miles per charge car, you die before you got anywhere. You can't travel. You can basically use it for just getting groceries and travel. Maybe if you actually work somewhere, maybe groceries, necessities, that's it. You can't really travel anywhere because they die and there's no charging stations. And if there is, this is my point, I set myself a reminder to get this. And if it does die and you have to charge it, if there's a station there, it's not just with a gas car, you just fill up and go. Fill up, pay, go. You have to sit there and charge, and charge, and charge. It's not just fill up and go, like I said. It takes a long time, and I looked this up too, how long it takes. The quickest they are is about 30 minutes, and I'm guessing that's for the $30,000 model. It's about 30 minutes, so instead of taking 2 minutes to fill up and go, you're sitting there for a half hour charging and paying a fee. And for a 158-mile car, well, you can go farther with that, but then again, there's still not charging stations. You said a travel, you want to go on a trip? Well, you have to account, well, we have to sit here in this one town and charge for 2 hours. That's what it takes. The quickest it said was 30 minutes for a good model, and as long as 7 hours. Could you believe that, depending on what model you got and how much you pay? God, is that a joke? It's not just fill up and go. No, you gotta wait here 3 hours to charge. You basically can't travel. Like I said, you can't even with a 150-mile charge battery on it. You can't travel. Another thing, the batteries. What do you think they're gonna do? Batteries, it depends on what they're using, of course, but you'd think after years and years of charging and discharging, they'd lose their charge. They wouldn't be able to hold as much. You probably have to replace it. And in cold weather, of course, depending on where you live, if you're in a cold weather, if you're in the north, how is that going to function in the winter? It's not, because in the winter they lose their charge, they don't want to stay charged, they don't want to work, batteries just fail in the winter outside. How do you think that's going to work? Come on, people. Unreliable. No, you can accelerate fast though, you can blow out your transmission, flooring it every time. The way they make them in China nowadays. Everything's made in China, pretty much. I think I'm touching on most of the points I wanted to get to. Oh, it's more efficient. You're doing good for your planet. No, you're not. Well, it's either you drive a gas-powered car, or, this is what people don't think of here. You think, oh, well, I'm just using electricity. It's green. It's not burning fuel. Where do you think that electricity comes from? Even in rural states, again, there's wind power, and there might be hydro or nuclear. But it's probably what? It's definitely not the majority of the market, and you're lucky if any of your power comes from it, because coal is so big. Where do you think that power comes from? Well, you gotta burn more coal to charge all your cars. That's where. It's either you burn the fuel or you burn more coal. And if everybody's driving electric, well, we gotta burn 50 times more coal now going into the air. It's counterintuitive. It's a joke. Come on, people. You gotta be really clueless not to realize that. You can't travel with them. Charging stations are hard to come by in many states. They take so long to charge, and it depends on what your outlet, if you're using 240 volts, 120 volts, and it's said online too, if you use 120 volts, it takes twice as long. It could charge just 7 hours, like I said, just to charge on 120 volts at your house. And you have to, if you want it on 240, you gotta install a special outlet in your house, and that costs more money. I think that's most of the points. One of them was, how long it takes to charge, got that. Trying to make sure I did not miss anything, because people get mad at me when I miss stuff. And I did this for an example. It's the basic calculation here. You look it up online how much electricity costs, and it does per watt hour. You figure you use your electric car twice a day. It charges for, because you have 120 volts at your house, it charges for 7 hours each time you use it twice a day. So you charge it in the morning, and then you use it, and you charge it at night. And you use it maybe again, somebody else use it. You figure all the electricity that adds up, and it takes a lot of energy to charge it. Some like amps of current to charge those. It's not just a couple of watts, it's a lot of flipping current. And you add it up, and it costs you an extra $100 to $300 a month just to pay for the electricity to charge it. And you figure how much it costs to put a full tank of, say you got a 20-gallon tank, gas is $3 a gallon, 20, 40, 60 bucks for a full tank of gas, and that'll last you 400 miles, 300 miles. Gosh, the advantages are just sticking out here. Can you notice? It costs you 60 bucks for a gallon of gas. You can go on that for 2 weeks. And then 60, so you say $120 a month in gas, and you're paying $300 a month in electricity combined. That's not even including the stuff you use at your house for your appliances and your TV, if you watch TV. That's not even including that. So you're probably up to $350 there, depending on it, who you live with, of course, and stuff, and variables. Come on, people. When I heard that, and it comes on frequently too, the advertisement. When I heard that, I thought, come on, can people seriously be falling for this? It's like a marketing scam. People gotta really be educated in this world. They're gonna get scammed.